Welcome to the first edition of CML's Statehouse Report. I'm Megan Dollar, CML Legislative Advocacy Manager. Today marks the beginning of the 2021 legislative session. Although there is light at the end of the tunnel, we're still in a pandemic, so the legislative session will be a little different this year. The legislature will hold an abbreviated legislative session starting today that will likely end on Friday. During that time, they will pass necessary legislation to clarify bills passed during this special session and any budgetary necessities. We anticipate roughly 7 pieces of legislation to go through the process. CML advocacy staff will, of course, be following all the introduced legislation closely to make sure to follow any municipal impacts. Following Friday, the legislature will then temporarily adjourn. They are projected right now to return on February 16th to conduct the full legislative session. During the adjournment, of course, we'll press pause on the Statehouse report, but we will return with the Statehouse report once the legislature then reconvenes. In the meantime, CML staff will continue to work on our legislative priorities in preparation for February 16th. One of those priorities is changing the law once and for all to allow local governments to require affordable housing set-asides in new developments within their land use authority. This was legislation that CML brought last year, but unfortunately it was lost due to the shortened legislative session. We look forward to getting this legislation across the finish line in 2021 though. Additionally, CML will join our partners in the law enforcement community to work on cleanups and clarifications to Senate Bill 2217, also known as the Law Enforcement Integrity Act. We also hope to open conversations alongside our partners at CCI and find reasonable solutions to the currently large amount of liability for local governments created in Senate Bill 2217. Finally, I want to end with a staffing announcement. Morgan Cullen has accepted a job with the Metro Denver Home Builders and is no longer with the league. We will miss him dearly, but we're excited for his next chapter. In the meantime, the advocacy team will make sure that all of Morgan's areas are covered and that CML's priority legislation to remove the statutory preemption on local governments regulating plastic continues to move forward, and we continue those discussions. In the meantime, I'm pleased to announce that the league was able to fill Morgan's position quickly, given that we have the legislative session upon us. I'm excited to announce that Megan McKillop will be joining the CML advocacy team starting on January 25th. She comes from Legislative Council and has great capital experience, so we're really excited to have her join the team.
Hi everybody, my name is Clarine Thomas, and I'm a lobbyist who focuses on issues related to marijuana, liquor, land use, gambling, and healthcare. And today I'll be focused on items related to marijuana and land use. CML has learned of a piece of legislation that will update 3 things related to marijuana. First, the bill allows the use of telemedicine for patients to obtain medical marijuana cards. Second, it allows medical marijuana patients in areas with few marijuana dispensaries to purchase marijuana from a recreational marijuana store without taxes and at medical potencies and quantities. It also allows medical marijuana patients who are unable to use the internet to obtain a digital medical marijuana card to purchase marijuana with their new patient or renewal paperwork. And this bill is in flux, and CML will be sure to advocate for an opt-in position for municipalities if this bill moves forward. Another marijuana bill CML is aware of is one that would allow a cultivator of both medical and recreational plants to move a plant from recreational to medical after it's tested for pesticides and before it goes out to a dispensary. And this bill seeks to address the problem where a medical consumer wants a certain strain that is available on both the medical and recreational side, but the supply is gone on the medical side. It is unclear if this bill will move forward this session, but CML will be sure to monitor and advocate on behalf of municipalities if this bill moves forward. And we are awaiting more information on these 2 bills and have not seen a bill draft or heard if these bills will move forward. We will be sure to update you all once we hear more information. I will now pivot to building codes. CML has been actively working with our building officials, DOLA and CCI to modernize statute related to modular homes. The goal of this is to explore ways to make it easier and more affordable to deploy modular homes in Colorado. We have received a draft of this bill and are reviewing key changes that would affect municipalities with our building officials. I'll provide an update once we're closer to a final draft. And that concludes the bills I'll be discussing for this Statehouse report. And please contact me via email if you have any questions.
Hi
Hi everyone, my name is Heather Stauffer, Legislative and Policy Advocate for CML. The first bill that I'm going to talk about is Email Communication and Open Meetings Law. This is CML initiated legislation, which we originally introduced last session, which we're bringing back this session. The bill clarifies provisions of the Open Meetings Law to specify that non-substantive email communication between elected officials that's related to scheduling and availability, forwarding information, responding to an inquiry from a constituent, or posing a question for later discussion is not a meeting under the Open Meetings Law. Representative Arndt from Fort Collins is going to carry this bill in the House. The second bill I'm going to talk about is Recall Statute Cleanup. This is a cleanup bill brought by the County Clerks Association with input from CML for statutes related to recall elections in Title I and Title 31. In Title 31, the bill removes language from the statute related to the requirement to vote on the question of recall in order to vote on a successor candidate. The requirement to vote on the question of recall in order to then vote on a successor candidate was deemed unconstitutional by the Colorado Supreme Court in 2013. The bill also adds language to Title 31 that makes it clear that a recall election can be held for someone who is appointed to an office as well as elected. The bill also makes several other technical updates to Title 31, which I would be happy to share. If you're interested, feel free to email me or call me. CML is supporting this legislation. The next bill I'm going to talk about is local government authority to establish fire mitigation and forest improvement intergovernmental agreements. As we all know, this past summer was Colorado's largest documented wildfire season on record, and highlighted the need to clarify legal authority for local governments to accomplish fire mitigation and forest improvement projects. Proposed legislation by the Southwest Wildfire Improvement Fund will clarify that local governments, local intergovernmental authorities, can provide the same functions and services that an individual participating political subdivision can provide on its own. And intergovernmental authorities can establish special improvement districts to finance forest health projects. No municipalities would be required to participate or enter into a wildfire mitigation IGA. This legislation would just provide an opportunity for local governments to participate if they choose. CML is supporting this legislation as well. Please email me or call me if you have any questions. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for tuning in to our first edition of the Statehouse Report. Again, we'll be taking a little bit of a hiatus while the legislature is on a hiatus, but we'll hope to see you back here in mid-February. Thanks and have a great day.